1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, great. All right. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to study this textbook here, starting at chapter 1, and we will go from there. My monitor's playing audio, so let's get rid of that. Okay. So what I've done in preparation for this is I went through and I put together all the graphics that I've created in the past. And so as we go along in the textbook, I'm going to create, update graphics. Also, one of the things I want to do is I have downloaded the Perplexity app, and I'm going to make a space in Perplexity to be able to share, so that as I'm going along and using that to think through and learn, and using it as kind of a mini workshop inside of my laboratory, there's a way that I can make it publicly shared. So we're going to try that out. So we're going to start. Oh, the other thing along the way is I'm going to be building a PowerPoint for the course. So chapter 1. So might as well go to that. So this is Principles of Accounting, Volume 1. See this? Okay. So as we'll go along, we will make a PowerPoint for this course. So my artifact. And we can, all right, let me see if I have this set up right. So quick reminder. This is where I got the textbook from, this OpenStax. So it's open source textbooks. I found this course. We'll go through it. So as I go, I'm going to figure out better and better ways to present the information and go through it. But best way to learn is by just doing. All right. So, chapter 1. I like to start by identifying the learning objectives. So the learning objectives, is this going to let me select? One, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. So 5 learning objectives. Let's see if what we understand about them so far. So explain the importance of accounting and distinguish between financial and managerial accounting. So financial versus managerial. Identify the uses of accounting information, how they apply information. Users. So and then describe typical accounting activities and the role accountants play in identifying, recording, and reporting financial activities. Explain why accounting is important to business stakeholders. So I'm wondering, who are the users of accounting separate than business stakeholders? It's one question that comes to mind. All right, and then describe the very career paths open to individuals with accounting education. So we're going to dive into those things. Full disclosure, this session right now, I only have like 15 more minutes, so we're not going to get very far, but I wanted to get it started. So immediately I'm thinking of a few of the graphics that I have in my head for these things. So I'm going to make a slide for each of the learning objectives. So, next learning objective. Oops, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5. All right. So here, I'm going to switch over to my other screen where I can draw. So the thing I immediately think of when we're talking about distinguishing between financial and managerial accounting, and the reason I'm not going through the textbook yet is I'm trying to lay the foundation of what I know already and kind of set the perimeter so that as I'm reading, I can be just filling in gaps and updating the mental models that I already have. So I'm going to insert a blank slide here. So this is distinguish between financial and managerial. The way I like to think about this, well, come on, you can do it. And if you've ever seen any of my videos from years ago, I like to describe it as, well, first, accounting is the language of business. And so if you have a business, and the way that we will represent business is just draw a picture of a building with windows. And so activities happening here, and this is my depiction of a book. So you've got a business, and then you've got the book, which is telling the story. And the story is being told to different audiences. I like to describe these audiences as external, like investors. Let's just call these external users. And then let's say the government. And then let's say internal users. So let's say these 3 different audiences. Well, when you tell the story to these different audiences, you are going to tell the story differently depending on what objectives you have of how you want the story to go. So we'll come back to that in a second, but this is the graphic of different languages or different dialects. So let's call this financial accounting. Financial accounting is the language of, accounting that is meant for external users. And then tax accounting is for government, and managerial is for internal users. Okay, we'll see what the book says and go into depth about those things. So back over the screen. All right. Looks like this is still introductory, why it matters. Jennifer's been in social work profession for over 25 years. After graduating college, she started working at an agency that provided services to homeless women and children. So it looks like this is giving an example. All right, so this is telling a story. You've got Jennifer. She works in this career. She was required to make financial decisions. All right, so I think what we're getting into here is setting up that what is the purpose of accounting information? And it's really about to inform decision makers. So, story, someone needs to make financial decisions. So luckily she took accounting in college because she was reluctant to do so because she did not see the relevance. Most people don't see the relevance of accounting because they don't understand what it is, which is why we're explaining it. I mean, accounting isn't just some ancillary part of business. It's like the core. It's the language of it. It's all the way that records are kept, the way that information is communicated, and it's the way that decision makers receive information to be able to make relevant decisions. So any kind of administrative role, managerial, usually involves dealing with financial issues. So luckily the person in this story studied accounting. Okay, so, all right, so step 1 in this book is, it is important to understand accounting as a decision maker. So if I wanted to teach this concept, one thought I have is what happens if you are a manager and you don't know accounting? Like not knowing anything about accounting, you're pretty much flying blind. It's you hear a lot of people talk about how they don't teach financial management in school and high school, and people don't know how to budget and all these things. The same way, if you're going to be an entrepreneur or a manager or an administrator, any kind of decision maker in a business, you don't know accounting, it's going to be really hard. Okay, well, so we've established it's important to understand accounting as a decision maker. Well, then, what is accounting? It's the language of business. What does that even mean? Well, it's just like any language. So maybe I want to really drive that point home. Like what it means to be a language. So if a language, this person has information. Okay, this is my attempt at a light bulb. This person has information. If they want to communicate it to this person, they need to do it through some shared language. It's really hard to write on this. You need a shared language. Okay. How do you learn a language? So, a language, in order to learn a language, you have to understand the grammar, the vocab, and then you have to practice. There is no shortcuts. And are there translators? Yeah. But if you want to learn to speak it or understand it yourself without a translator, it's only through practice and learning the grammar and the syntax. There's no shortcuts. There's no way to learn it fast. There's a learning curve, and there's no shortcutting it. So I guess I want to be able to think through that idea. All right, so it is a language. Learn it the same way you learn a spoken language. So through practice and all that. All right, so 1.1. Explain the importance of accounting and distinguish between the two. All right, so we've established it's a language, but now there's different languages, different dialect. So different words can mean different things in different dialects. There's words in one dialect that don't exist in the other. So it really is in accounting, this concept of accounting language, there's several dialects, and that's where this picture comes in. So why is it important to distinguish between these? Well, let's see what it says. So accounting is a process of organizing, analyzing, communicating financial information that is used for decision making. Okay, that's a big sentence. What does it mean? Financial information is typically prepared by accountants, those trained in the specific techniques and practices of the profession. And so an accountant is someone who speaks the language. So I want to establish here that an accountant is a translator. And a recorder, a scribe. So over here you have business activity, stuff happening. The accountant sees all of this and then interprets, records, organizes, presents. So, I mean, let's go over and look at this highlighted thing. Organize, analyze. So, let's analyze. Well, I guess that's analyze, present, or communicate. They do that to, let's just say, the audience. Man, I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to write on this tablet so that my handwriting doesn't suffer so bad. All right. Oops. So why is it important to be able to distinguish between these two different languages of accounting? All right, so students will take this course because they might want to be accountants or business professionals or other career paths. It doesn't matter. You're going to want to know accounting if you want to be able to make decisions about a business, because accounting is how you get the information organized, analyze, and communicate. So a solid understanding of accounting will serve as a useful resource. It's hard to think of professions where a foundation in the principles of accounting would not be beneficial. True. Therefore, one goal of this course is to provide a solid understanding of how financial information is prepared and used in the workplace, regardless of your career. All right, well, still waiting to see what the importance is of distinguishing between the two languages. I'm going to skip this. Maybe we'll come back. Oh, look at that. A traditional adage. Boom. Oh, you can also say accounting is the language of life. I'm interested. At some point, most people will make a decision that relies on accounting information. True. For example, you may have to decide whether it's better to lease or buy a vehicle. All right, so we're getting into when is accounting information when is it used? So leasing or buying a vehicle, how do you make that decision? What are the metrics you use to decide what's good and bad? A college graduate might have to decide whether it's better to take a high-paying job in a big city or a lower-paying job in a smaller city. This all sounds like personal budgeting. In a professional setting, a theater manager may want to know if the most recent play was profitable. What does that even mean? So there's all of these words. So let's talk about buzzwords. Profit, quote unquote, or lease or buy. Job. Okay. Decisions based on factors that include financial and non-financial. Okay, so this is going through each of those decisions and explaining how understanding accounting can help. All right. So that's all just laying the groundwork for what is financial information, why is it important to know, and then it looks like we're going to learn about this dialect of accounting, which is financial accounting, which measures the financial performance of an organization using a standard convention to prepare and distribute financial reports. So what that's talking about is over here, the business is writing its story. It is organizing, analyzing, and communicating financial information in a standard convention, meaning this financial accounting language that is explained to external users, everyone uses it the same way. It's the same rules that apply to everyone, so that when the audience is reading that story, whether it is company A, B, or C, all of them are using the same rules, so that as a decision maker, let's say as an investor, you're trying to decide which company to invest in, they're all using the same language to tell their story to you. So everyone's using this standard convention to prepare and produce these financial reports. So like their story. So financial accounting is used to generate information for shareholders outside. So that's that external audience, such as owners, stockholders, lenders, government entities. I don't like that it says the IRS here. I'm wondering if this book is about to put tax and financial accounting together. That would not make sense because they're totally different languages, different rules, different convention. So I take issue with them listing this. Oops. This is going to let me erase. I take issue with them putting the IRS here. So we're going to come back to that and see what we think later. Financial accounting also is a foundation for understanding managerial accounting. I'm wondering where they're going with that. Managerial being another language, which uses both financial and non-financial information as a basis for making decisions within an organization. So external, internal, with the purpose of equipping decision makers to set and evaluate business goals by determining what information they need to make. So let's just reiterate this. In financial accounting versus managerial, decision maker in financial is an investor or a lender, like a creditor or an owner, and they're trying to make a decision, usually of risking money on someone else. So when they hear the story, when they read this book, they're trying to decide as an external audience what to do. Whereas a managerial accountant, in a managerial accounting, this is an internal decision maker. This is reading information and trying to decide things inside the business, like should we buy equipment? Or what should our budget be? Or Should we use part A or B? So it's decisions within a business. Okay, I got to stop there. I will come back and finish this next time.